what it is. But nonetheless, guys, I see your comments. I'm gonna get to your comments in a second, but we're gonna go to screen share right quick because there are some things I want to run through as far as Ryan Garcia's concerned, as far as who he could be fighting next. Some of the things that were said. There was a lot. Now I know you guys can see it. I think we're on screen share. Let me just double check. Mm-hmm. We're on screen share. Okay, cool. I know you guys can see it. So we know there was a lot made of Oscar De La Hoya and their whole back and forth. And I was telling, I personally thought Ryan was being emotional because I know how emotional fighters can be. I have a lot of friends that are fighters. So I know one day things could be great. The next day they could be mad pissed off at the world. So I know how it is. But here's what Oscar said this following the loss, or following the win, I should say, for Ryan Garcia over Duarte. He stated the following, and I quote, "I'm so proud of Ryan Garcia for the way he handled adversity and the power of Oscar Duarte. I always said it was a tough fight, and I was surprised he chose a power puncher. I'm looking forward to putting on the next major event for Ryan Garcia, whoever it is, right?
Is he still with them?
He's still with them. Now, to my knowledge, I mean, I do know I don't know if their lawsuit is still in progress. I'm not sure if they're still in litigation, but
you can't comment on it.
I can't really say. Yeah. Maybe you guys know better than me. But for now, they're going to be together, and
it's like a husband and wife marriage.
It's a husband and wife type of marriage. It's like most marriages in the USA, where Ryan's balls are in a glass vase, and I'm sure he's got better options out there, and he's mad at the relationship, but they got to make this work.
Yeah.
Because what did Don King Stacey McKinney always say? Working together works.
Yeah.
So
for the people.
People want to see this.
God bless Don King.
But there's a lot. Listen, Ryan has a lot of options. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about. One of the things I wanted to discuss, I can't find where I put it right now, but we're just going in order. We're just going in order. I'll go in order from the tweets I had, right? So one criticism, and shout out to Calix Boxing 2.0, good channel. I do enjoy his insights on boxing. He had this tweet, and he said, Ryan Garcia has yet to fight a true 140-pounder. He's fought twice at the weight, and they were both against lightweights. Obviously, he fought Javier Fortuna, and he fought Oscar Duarte. And in this fight, he fought Duarte at a 143-pound catch weight. So there it is. What do you make of that?
I think.
What do you guys make of that? The chat. What do you guys make of that?
I'll tell you like this. If you're fighting at 140, fight at 140. If you can't make 140, then you shouldn't be there. I mean, I'll say it like that. But when I'm getting at it, if Garcia decides to fight this fight at a catch weight, then he's getting what he wants. He's getting what he wants. That's not how it works. I'm going to agree with what this guy said. Calix, what is his name? Yeah. God bless him. Calix, so he said he hasn't fought a true 140. So what's that telling me? You're not disciplined enough, or you're too good to make the weight?
Yeah, I can see where everybody's coming from, but it's not really that uncommon in boxing. Like, first of all, Oscar Duarte is not ranked anywhere in the top 15. So because this fight was not against a top 15 contender, it's a non-title fight, and it's not a fight for any. It's not any sort of eliminator fight. It's not a WBC top 15 or WBA or whatever. So a lot of times on undercards and with fights like this, where there's really nothing at stake, it's just a fight. There do tend to be catch weights. So if the fight was at 143, I know I know a lot about it is bullshit. Honestly, Ryan should be fighting at 40, but that's really on Oscar Duarte's team. He should have better representation to not allow such a thing to happen. And if he accepted it, I hope he got compensated accordingly.
Yeah, and at the same time, I don't really agree whether it's not a title fight or whatever fight.
But that happens all the time. I remember Dan.
I know, but a lot of fighters in boxing, the majority of them will actually fight fighters under what their weight class is or whatever the case may be, and fight them for whatever reason. I don't agree with that. If you can't make that weight for 140 and you're fighting let's say 140, fighting a 135, 139, fuck that. You got to fight the fight at that weight class.
That's not how. If you actually go look at manager, if you actually go look at fighters' fights, like a lot of times when there's no title on the line and it's not if you're not fighting a guy in the top 15 and there's no title on the line,
I agree.
You can fight at these weights.
I don't like that. No.
That's just how it goes. Yeah. And look, I always say, look, in boxing, you don't get what you want, you get what you negotiate. So if Oscar Duarte didn't want to fight at 143, then his team shouldn't have agreed to fight at 143. True. And they should have, really put their foot down and say, no, we're not going to be treated like this. We're professionals. We expect Ryan to be professional. And if he don't want to make the weight, then we're not going to fight.
But then again,
so that's
on the flip side of that is probably what was Duarte's biggest paycheck, so he's not gonna turn. So I'll do whatever I gotta do to get that big paycheck.
That's why I always say, man, all money not good money. Sometimes you gotta have some morals and principles in this, but nonetheless, money talks.
Bullshit walk.
There you go. Anyway, switching gears, still on Ryan Garcia. I'm gonna get you guys comments in a second. So if you super chat or anything, I'll get to it. Just I want to run through this Ryan Garcia stuff right now. We know that there was an offer made to Teofimo Lopez to fight Ryan Garcia. The offer reportedly was $1.5 million, and Teofimo Lopez turned it down because he stated that he's the best fighter in the division. He's a guy that brings big corporate sponsorships to the table, such as Bud Light. And he's not lying. Bud Light is a sponsor at Teofimo.
Wines he got.
He got what's the other one? Life Water. He's got some big spot. I think Beats by Dre. So he does have big corporate sponsorships. But at the same time, it's like, look, man, let's just be real, because you got to really see things for how they are, not how I wish they were. Now, as a boxing fan, I just want Ryan and Teo to fight. And I do think Teofimo, as a fan, should get one more than 1.5. I think his value is higher than that. But if that was what he was offered, and from what I've heard, it was not offered to him by Ryan. It was offered to him by Bob. So if that's what Bob is offering you, then what that means is your market value in the eyes of the people who employ you and sign your paychecks, which is Top Rank Incorporated, they don't feel that it supersedes $1.5 million. And look, I'm not trying to put Teofimo Lopez down. He's one of South Florida's very own, even though he don't want to admit it half the time. But he could barely sell out the theater at Madison Square Garden. And Pops, you've been to the theater. Is the theater at Madison Square Garden a big venue?
No.
He barely sold that out when he fought George Kambosos. So my thing is, look, in that fight, Ryan Garcia is the A side. He would make more. He would be slated to make more of the money. My thing is this: if Teofimo Lopez, I know right now Teofimo Lopez is going through a big thing because he feels he should be getting paid more. I feel like he should be getting paid more. However, look, boxing does the way he's acting. Boxing don't work like that.
No, listen.
So my thing is this. With Teofimo Lopez, I think listen, you can negotiate. Maybe you can get an extra 0.5 or maybe $1 million at most. Maybe you can get 2.5. Maybe you can get $2 million. But I think if that offer is true and whatnot, I think he should have taken it. And I think because he'd beat Ryan Garcia. I think he'd beat him. And the thing is, with the eyeballs Ryan Garcia brings to the sport, if you knock him the fuck out, you're gonna get a portion of his fan base, and that's gonna shoot you to the moon.
I'm gonna tell you like this.
Look at Tank.
No disrespect to both Lopez's. I like I'm a big fan of them, but you're fucking disillusional. Okay, simple as that. You come here and ask me you want 10 millions, get the fuck out of here. That's not happening. Okay, you're wasting your prime years whining about not making the money. Why don't you just try to make the freaking money so you have more money in your pocket later on in your prime years and get the bigger fights? When you come out here and now you're demanding all this stuff and you can't even sell a freaking schoolyard size place, then you can't say that. Like, to me, both you and your father, yes, Pop said it, and I love you guys and all, but you motherfuckers are disillusional.
Absolutely. And I'll say this, man. Look, part of the reason, and I've been telling a lot of people this, and I'm going to say it here, and I have no problem saying this to T over his dad, and even though I love him, I only say it out of love. But, like, Teofimo, I know he was born in New York City, right? I know he was born there, but he's not really from there. Teofimo Lopez from Dania Beach. He's from South Florida. He used to box at the Davey Powell. By him being El Brooklyn and trying to be marketed as a New York fighter, that he really kind of like you kind of. I think if Teofimo Lopez from the beginning, if he would have been promoted like in South Florida had some fights here and got some nice knockouts as a prospect, he would have built himself a nice, good fan base up. And then when the Kambosos fight would have came, I think by the time that Kambosos fight would have came, you could have actually did a fight at Marlins Park like they were trying to do. But he didn't have that built-in fan base, and he didn't have it in New York because he's not from there, and he didn't have it in South Florida because he never fought here. And then people here kind of feel some type of way about him saying he's from New York when they know better. So my thing is this, and I think Teo has to accept his position where he's at in the division right now. As far as not in the ring, he's come to the creme top shelf. But I'm talking business market value wise. negotiate maybe $1 million more. I think at most you can get 2.5, maybe 2. But
I'll say it like this: when you came to boxing, you weren't shit. When you came to boxing, you couldn't even buy a roll of paper toilet to wipe your ass with. Okay. Now all of a sudden you start making your fights and you start doing good and you start doing all this and you get all this marketing. Now your head's getting bigger and bigger because you got all these sponsorships. Well, you didn't have boxing in the beginning. You wouldn't have the sponsorships. Stop blowing your head up. Stop saying something. Just the same thing when he lost 2 freaking Camboses. His fucking head blew up like this. Him and his dad the whole time talking shit about the whole fight and dragging it to something that it wasn't, and that's why he fucking lost. Shut your mouth. Make your money while you can, because you're gonna regret it later.
And my thing is this: I'm only saying this because I want to see
Teofimo.
I want to see Teofimo Lopez in the big fights. I feel like he's a special talent. I think he brings a lot of value to the sport.
Please.
If look, and I'll say this last thing about Teo, and then I'll move on to the next topic. If Teofimo Lopez is so hell bent on getting more money, I know Teofimo Lopez and all these fighters listen to Floyd and what he said. Okay, then whatever. Go ask Top Rank. What does it cost to buy you out your own contract? Buy yourself out the damn contract. And then you have your own. I know T has his own promoter's license, and he's talked about wanting to do things outside the box. Buy yourself out your contract, all right, and promote your own shows.
Listen.
And then if you want, and then if you feel you can command more than 1.5, then you have the leeway to do it because now you're not boggled down by Top Rank what the network can offer you.
I'm gonna call it like this: when he was with the Zone, was he with the Zone? Teo and his dad fight or something like that. With the Zone, right? Eddie Hearns and all were great, right? When the Zone turned him down, they had nowhere to turn. He had nobody to go to. There was no more promoting for him or his dad to get big fights. The way they had to go back, he had to go back to see the Godfather, right?
Facts.
Humble yourself. Boxing humbles you, and be humble and do what you got to do.
And look, and hopefully the fight happens at some point. And that's what it is. Before I get to Rolly and Ryan, because I know there are some things to talk about Rolly and Ryan. We did get a super chat, so do want to acknowledge the one super chat we did get. We got my main man Milky Way. He wants to know. Hold on. You know. Listen. When you super chat True School Sports, you know you're out here making smart investments like Floyd.
Dubai, pick up a couple dollars. You know they upset. See, they upset because I'm able to milk the game. I'm smart. Kept all my faculties. Made a lot of smart investments. So you know when great people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, the Waltons, the people that own Walmart, Walgreens, when they're getting money in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, 80s, and even 90s, it's okay. A young kid like myself from the inner city, from the ghetto, I worked my way to the top. I was able to leave boxing on my own terms and keep all my faculties, kept a lot of my money. So they're upset that I'm able to go out there and continue to make 40 and 50 and 60 million outside the ring. You can't get mad. Yo, listen, this is what God wanted.
Shout out to TBE.
There you have it. It's a God wanted. So Milky Way, shout out for your super chat. He says, do you think that 140 is the weakest division in boxing? Why would 140? Absolutely not. 140 has top talents like Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. You got Subriel Matias. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. No division with Subriel Matias in it is anywhere close to the weakest division in boxing. You know, and that's only the top. There's other good fighters. So like you got guys like Jack Catterall. You got guys like Richard Hitchens who are really good as well. So yeah, no, 140 is a solid weight class. The weakest division in boxing, I'll say it. I've said it one time, 160, and I'll continue to say it. The weakest division in boxing is hands down the middleweight division. Middleweight division is the most shambolic division in boxing. You got the best guy with half the belts is Johnny Beck, and we don't even know how really good he is yet because he hasn't really fought like no creme de la creme top shelf opponents. And you know he unified the titles against someone that wasn't that good in Chenzo Gutierrez. He got his shit pushed in by Denzel Bentley and barely won that fight. You know, went life and death with Arnold. Like I like Johnny Beck. I'm saying I think he's a good fighter. I think he's good. But I'm saying I don't know if he's someone that I would want to have the best fighter in my weight class. Then you got Charlo, who hasn't defended the belts in what 2 years, some change. Jamal Charlo. You got Lara, who is basically one of the most non-existent champions in boxing, and he's talking about fighting a welterweight and Danny Garcia for the belt. There's only a handful of middleweights I actually like right now. Like I like Elijah Garcia.
Oh, man.
I think he's great for the division. I think the gentleman that won this Saturday, who I've been posting a lot about. If you guys don't know him, please check out the content about him here. Ian Green. I think he's a fantastic middleweight. There's like 2 or 3 like good middleweights that I like, but as a whole, the division is shambolic. So no, to answer your question in plain English, absolutely not.
Thank you for your support.
140 is definitely nowhere close to the weakest division in boxing. Weakest division in boxing is 160, hands down. Lance Meyer says, "Pops mad about you vaping, BT. What do you do?" I don't do that. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never vaped. I've never.
When I'm going on Teofimo,
did a drug in my life. I barely drink, so I don't. I don't know.
You say because I went off on Teofimo.
You know, so
it's all good.
Shout out to Hyro. Hyro says, "I told everyone Oscar Duarte wasn't gonna pull no ups." That is true. Hyro did say from the get go, Oscar Duarte's trash. He said it's the PBC himself. But if Oscar Duarte was signed Al Heyman, Hyro would have been gassing him up as the next Mexican legend.
He got a lot of money in
that
PBC company.
You know? QT, shout out to him. He says, not a huge Teo fan, but I'll let him stay away from Ryan. Keep winning and being competitive. The money will. Yeah, I mean, again,
I'm with you on that one.
I agree with that. I agree with that. BT, Teofimo has all the accomplishments and he's getting paid less than everyone. Well, you know, look. Nobody told him to badmouth Top Rank and then talk all that shit about Top Rank and do what he felt like he wanted to do with Triller and whatnot. So he's paying for his past sins. That's why in boxing and in life, you should never ever, you gotta be humble. You know, you gotta always try to keep your feet on the ground because you never know down the road how that could affect you. And I feel like they're making these offers to him. He's not getting paid what probably should be getting paid because of what happened in the past. So I think he's worth more than 1.5 million. Quite frankly, yes, I do. I do think he brings more value to the table than that. But then again, he's employed by Top Rank Incorporated. They call the shots. All right. So if that's what they offering him, then that's what it is. You know, I can't argue with that. I don't sign the checks. You know, MEZBX brings up a hell of a point. I'll get back to Ryan in a second, but MEZBX brings up a hell of a point. Teofimo's pops. I like Junior. Pat Bonner before. Teofimo's pops. Please. Bill Haney said he wanted $20 million to fight. $20 million.
No disrespect. Must be
like
$20 million from their country.
I don't even think from Honduras.
Yeah, the currency compared to America. I don't know disrespect. I'm just saying, like, please, you're being very disillusional what you're doing. You and your son. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that's not. I mean, it could be down the road. It's not a $20 million fight right now. So that's just what it is. You know, Lance said he's just playing, and he says respect to us, the best boxing duo in the YouTube box. Appreciate you, Lance. Thank you. And yeah, I don't vape. In fact, not only do I not vape, I've been working out like a madman. I've been freaking training like I'm a damn fighter recently. Yeah. So, you know, listen, gotta keep the mind sharp because you know. Your boy BT, man, I might take that jump. I probably will, more than likely in the next year or so. Probably become a boxing manager. We never know. You never know what the future may hold. So I can't be vaping and messing up my mind. I may have to guide some young fighters to some world titles and big fights, you know. I may have to show some of these managers how it's really done, you know. Not to be cocky, but I'm saying there's still a lot I gotta learn. But I'm saying I may have to show some people some things, you know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, let's go back to Teo because there are some more things I want. Not Teo, with Ryan. There are some things I do want to discuss with Ryan. Obviously, we know that Rolly. I think Rolly technically still has the title, but I know that Ohara Davies and Ismael Barroso were supposed to fight for that interim title. Yeah, somebody mentioned that. Yeah.
But the fight got canceled because I think Davies had a visa issue. So nonetheless. Rolly was talking about Ryan, and he was talking to my boy Sean Tatel, and I did hear the clip. He said this to Sean Tatel. He said, I quote, "I don't think Ryan deserves it. He does not deserve to share a ring with me. Honestly, I don't even want to be a 140-pounder anymore. I want to go to 147. There's a lot of big names at 147. Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you this. If Rolly goes to 147, maybe he can fight Boots because anytime someone gets suggested to Boots these days, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Giovanni Santillan, Jin Sasaki, Keith Thurman, Trayshawn Wiggins. All I ever hear from people is they not beating Boots. They not beating him. Boots don't gotta fight nobody because he beats them all. It's like the same thing with Shakur. Shakur don't gotta fight nobody because he beats them all. So we don't even need to see the fight because he already beat them all without fighting them. You know. So maybe if maybe Boots can fight him, right? But as far as him and Ryan, right, fighting. That fight would be great for boxing. I think there's a great storyline there with that fight. I think with the sparring, I think Rolly whether you love him or hate him, he knows how to draw the emotions of people. Him versus Tank is probably one of the most well-promoted pay-per-views in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
And look, call me crazy, I'm not writing him off against Ryan. I think Ryan showed a lot of vulnerability when, not just when Tank fought him, when Tank closed the gap, but also when Duarte was able to close the gap on him. So, and one thing about Rolly knows how to be rough. He knows how to be physical. He's athletic. I feel like that could actually wind up being a very hard fight for Ryan. What do you think about Ryan versus Rolly, Pops?
I would have to go along with that. Garcia, he can't just depend on his reflexes and action, like moving around and all that stuff against Rolly. Rolly's a very awkward fighter. So first, you're going into a fight where you don't, that awkwardness, the way he stands, the way he comes forward, the way he moves, it's going to cause you problems because you're not used to fighting a fighter like that. So for me, and I will also say one thing, I think Rolly has more power. I think he's more stronger, in my opinion. Not knockout-wise.
Physically strong.
Yeah, physically strong. Dan Ryan, and I mean, so anything could happen, but I think that'd be a problem for Ryan. It's the simple fact of his awkwardness.
You feel like maybe he could rough Ryan Garcia, but at the same time?
I mean, because not to take nothing away from Tank, but I mean, Rolly was fighting a great fight until he got hit, got that one punch, he got hit that one time. And I will say the same thing going to Garcia. Garcia's going to go in and try to run it and do his angles and the quickness. That's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As far as apart from Rolly, and this will probably be the last I say about Ryan Garcia before I switch things up. When we go to, we're going to talk about Floyd Schofield and him a little bit here in a second. But as far as what are Ryan's next available options, let's run through it. So you got, apart from Teo. Now look, I'm gonna tell you this. He better stay far, far, far away from Subriel Matias. He don't want that. He don't want that in his life. He don't need that. Listen, if Ryan Garcia were to fight Subriel Matias, all respect to him, because Subriel Matias, after I seen what he makes everybody quit, but especially that last one when he made Ergashev quit the way he made him quit, that shit is scary. I don't, no more. All right, Ryan, don't fight Subriel Matias. I know you won't do it because the money won't be enough for you to fight him. But you have that option there right now. The more realistic options, Pops, and I'll pick your brain about this. There was a fight on this undercard that was supposed to happen between Ohara Davies, who just recently signed a Golden Boy. He's one of the top contenders, I believe, in the WBA. And one of South Florida's very own by way of Venezuela, Ismael Barroso. He was supposed to fight Ohara Davies. What do you think about Ryan against either one of those two guys?
Are we talking about Barboza?
No, not Barboza.
Okay.
Ismael Barroso, the guy that fought Rolly, the old man.
Okay.
And Ohara Davies, they're supposed to fight each other. What do you think about those two against Ryan?
I mean, we'd have to go. We have to see the fight. I mean, people could say, Ohara Davies was very talented fighter from over there, from the UK, and we don't know what he's got. But I mean, anything right now for Ryan would be good. I mean, to see what he's got. But I gotta see him with the big fights. Whoever else they got, I don't care where they put him against. You got to put him up there with the 140 pounders that are the top to see what he's going to stand at and iron him out. We got to iron up because there's more people, a couple more fighters coming up at 140. It's going to be like this. So his time has come. He's got to make it now.
I'll tell you this, man. I would love to see Ryan fight Ismael Barroso before Rolly, because obviously Barroso is a common opponent with Rolly. Yeah. And Barroso can punch. And I need to see how Ryan does with a smarter puncher. Duarte's a puncher, but Duarte is dumb. Like, he's a dumb fighter. He doesn't really have a lot with him. Barroso's experienced. He's southpaw. He can counterpunch. He's strong. Smart. He's a smarter fighter. I think he's a higher level thinking fighter than a guy like Duarte. So I would like that fight. But obviously, Duarte and Ohara Davies got a score to settle. Ohara Davies is a good fighter. A lot of people, he's fought some of the best fighters in the world and came up short. He fought Josh Taylor many years ago, lost to him when they were prospects. Same thing with Catterall. He beat Logan Yoon, who was a good prospect at the time, made him quit boxing and just disappear from the face of the earth. Ohara Davies has built himself up nicely after a very tough start to his career. He's worked himself up to the top of the rankings. I would like to see him get the opportunity to fight Ryan Garcia. Because look, if Ryan's still a Golden Boy fighter, I'm telling y'all right now, we can sit here and talk about Ryan versus Teo or Ryan versus Rolly till the cows come home. But more than likely, you're getting either Ryan versus Ohara Davies, Ryan versus Ismael Barroso, or Ryan versus newly signed fighter who Pops just mentioned, Arnold Barboza Jr. Now, Pops, What do you think about Ryan Garcia fighting the former top-ranked fighter, Arnold Barboza Jr.?
I mean,
they're calling him the boogeyman.
Yeah, they've been saying a lot about him, but I mean, right now, I like to see what Barboza is all about. I mean, they signed him. He got to show me what he got. You know what I mean? They say he's one of the top 135 pounders, or moved up now to 140, right? Yeah. So we'll have to see what he does. But I mean, for me, I just want to see Ryan say he wants a bigger fight, so now he's going to have to take those risks and go get it. Shut your mouth. Don't take this easy what do you call it? Taxi driver fights. Don't take those taxi driver fights and get yourself and get in there where you say you can prove yourself.
No, absolutely not. Shout out to my boy Jairo. Before we put the ball on this Ryan Garcia thing, Pops, there was a lot of people in boxing that thought Oscar Duarte was going to upset Ryan Garcia. They thought there was going to be an upset. But hold on. Johnny Boy didn't think there was going to be upset.
Okay, Johnny.
Here's what he said. Wait, hold on. Here's what he said. Hold on. Listen, a lot of people thought there was going to be an upset. There is no upset.
What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about, Basile? Oh, I smell an upset. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
The news, funny news.
There you have it.
Yeah,
there you have it.
So look, follow him, guys. Crazy.
That's going to be the last we say about Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Look, there's some good fights out there.